Right, so many platforms open up highline interference location that calculates line streams. All levels just coming off TikTok. There's a lot of things that are opening up. Open doors, communication program setting. Knowing how to open up a door is really understand the calculation, but it's how to open up the door. How do you do that? It's all done to the mind system locations. So you get in past the high interference locations or lulls, hyperspeed, hyperlining rotations, power centers, power interference, power highline rotation calculation, the computer set line interference. Today, we're going to travel to the CPU line system. Now, this is all through simile. Connection interference location simulation. Graph line centers, a ground line tracks communication in its system position. Times calculation times pi. Times calculations times pi. Times calculation times pi. Why did I say that 3 times? Well, it's an line, channel lining, and rotation interference location, doing it 3 times in position location, line conditions all levels of the sun. Sun communication interference, probe locations to the moon, high level channel line center, and position location to all track system. Done through the equation line center. 5-10 minutes, get started. Also, too, make sure we have Zoom, that you guys understand what's going on with Zoom. We do meetings Monday and Wednesdays from 12 Central Standard Time, my time, 12 p.m. Okay, check your time zones. Monday and Wednesday, and we'll put up the link so you don't have any problem getting there. Just time zone is very important to understand these things. Also, too, when you're on TikTok, please try to match your TikTok to match it to my YouTube when you go live, and also place it with a different emoji so we can identify your signatures. All right, so we know who's who, right? And for position locations for the new activators, just put divergence underscore your name. Okay, so we can identify you. This is about understanding separating the unified to divergence to position locations of units. All right, that's how it comes into calculation line conditions. All right, so make sure you have your water. Okay, that's important. Make sure you have your notepads, your structures. Bring a smile. That's what this is all about, getting into your imagination to its record of time. All right. Oh, yeah, I love this AW space-time creator. See? See, it's traveling. See that? See how it paused? So the computer is recognizing the name. It's trying to make sure it's me. Because if it wasn't me, it would go. Right? Center offline center. So it's making sure it's recognizing my DNA track interference, my program position locations, AW space, position of space-time creator. Right? So it's amazing how things travel. Speed line center interference locations, high levels of time travel interference position box centers. It's all calculated and modified to all line conditions. So when you guys go through your simulators, you're going to go through hyperspeed. You're going to go through hyper jumpers. Hyper jumper is position location like a jetpack. We did that position location in highline center location in the subway. Going through a position locations of a train that was a jet, highline center interference locations. Going into between 1,500 miles per second per unit high center interference. Track interference of clocking center is so different in spaceline positions. You guys use per second positions, but we use it through clocking. So we also use it through acceleration. Times position speeds its line center to all levels of thoughts. So you got a 24 window, 48, 72, 144. This is how you calculate all line center locations. 5 within system, 6 within activation, 7 within core. 7 of the ground line centers, all levels of you. Okay. So you really have to understand how to use your 12 DNA every single time using the conscious line string and position locations to everybody else. Your telepathy is extremely important. You have to learn how to use it through the mind system. It's all through coordination. All right. All right. So how's everybody doing so far? Okay. Let's see. Introduce line conditions. Max, how's it going? MB, how's it going? Joe, how's it going? Aaron, Michael, Terry, Johnny, Gypsy, Lindsay, Pam, JP. Let's see. Julie, how's it going? Great to see you. Val, how's it going? True Light, how's it going? Michael, great. Sending out the guards, position locations, biophosphorus. You know, understanding these things and what's going on, especially for the new viewers, just really just try to pay attention of not what I'm saying, but what I am doing through vibration. Okay. So you'll never understand me if you're trying to understand the connection. The connection is the avatar to the general and general to the avatar through vibration. That is the connection. So I'm trying to get everybody into how to use the mind. Okay, how to use the mind through this, this, and this, right? So it's all about how to use your energy pods, right? The eye line centers, your line rotations, right is position of the earth, left is space, and your voice is its command. All right. See, it's amazing. See? See my hand, how it goes up? See that? See that? Isn't that incredible? Got hand here, and hand here. So, but my finger's going like this, my finger's going like this, and my finger's going like this. So it's reversing. So it's showing you from how it goes up and how it goes down. So that's what it is like this. So you have an arrow pointing down, you have an arrow pointing up, all through a plasma stream, through an E field, right? All through light. So, and also you can't see in the back. You can't see in the back, right? This is my force field. This is my energy field. Extremely protected in all line, right? Through one parallel to all line position, to all energy line conditions, to all clocking systems, right? So, and that's what it is. Once you understand what your E fields, that's what it looks like from outside. You can't see, right? And so once you get into that calculation, you understand what it is through clocking, because I can go from a 24 to 48, 72 to 144. Now they send you guys are already at 144. They can go back down to 24, but why would they? Because they want to keep at that level where they need to understand more of the mind. Once the mind reaches its capacitor, it changes its channel of its disposition to its vowels and its communication cycle through its time frame, time calculations, all levels of clocking system of space-time. So if you are confused, your avatar is confused. And why is your avatar confused? Because you're still registering with its old program locations. Try to use this as calculation. When you come to my school, it's a school of remembrance, a school of memory. That's all it is. It's not a teaching method in any way and form, okay? You are teaching yourself to remember who you are, okay? I just open up the door. You go through, okay? All right. Jill, thank you for the connections at grounds. Marley, how's it going? Great to see everybody. Let's travel. All right. So I know we got a half an hour because we start at 12, and I like to be right on time, especially when it comes to Zoom, because we have a 2-hour window for you guys and questions and comments. So we'll just get started. All right. So as we're going to position locations, the simulation is set up. All right. It's already set up through codes. So everything that I do is already set up in position locations, 7 channels, 7 communication centers in position location. You have a 24-day window. You have 12 line centers of light and 12 line centers of dark. Now that's the avatar, not the physical line. All right. So if you understand that calculations, you understand the box line interference. So we come into white graph line rotation, come into box interference in position location. There's a box. Okay, come into another box, right? Go into another box. Now it's going to get complicated as we go through, right? 3 triangle line center interference in position location line conditions. Now, it's open L triangles in communication center in position location, redirect line in rotation center. So it's kind of like illumination graph line rotation to space line. Comes in a modification system, right? So do you see the map? That's what you guys are going to go through. Everything that I'm creating position location, this is the map that you guys are going to go through the simulation. So the ground line center is set up position location sequence. It sets up position locations, line directions. Opens all channel line condition interference. Oh, we got a line graph. So that comes in high rotation interference all through box position. Travel line center line condition rotation. Kind of looks like a house, right? Because that's what it is. So it's kind of understand the position location of where it's coming from all levels. Track line centers in position location and direction. Okay. Opens all position locations, all line. Okay. Puts you in activation string. See the map that you're going to be going through high center line and rotation in position. All right. So the simulation is set up the core line center. Okay. So as you guys are going through, the core line center line conditions the crew units, high position location, all levels into squad unit 1 and 2, everything through the GFL position location or rebellion line center, mind adaptation cycles in center line and rotation interference. We're going to go through 72 window. The connection line centers is 344 through the ascension guides. The GFL line center is going to go through 144 and high line interference. Squad unit line 1 position location line conditions is going to go through 72 window. And everything through the crew units are going to go through 24 line center interference location, the clock system like position. In high line center line conditions, the ascendant guides and high line interference line conditions are going to go through 444 position per second. High line center line conditions, all levels, simulation to its graph. Open line rotation, interference location line conditions. All right. So we're going into screen interference. There's screen interference right there. Okay, there's the graph. See the road? You see the road? Right? So we're going to coordinate the high line interference, resolution pattern, communication system, code signals are set up in high channels. As we come into position locations, you guys are going to go through it. Here we go. So the rainbow activity stream is set up in high systems. Same thing with the biofrost break communication line connections. Right? You're going to travel through line interference locations, sun graph line connections. Here we go. Right through position locations. There you go. There's the graph. All right. 30 minutes. Have fun. Set and signal and position location. Zip zap zoom. So it's amazing how you set up simulations. So all the ascension guides are going through graph line centers. Setting up templates, communication cycles, recenter generation lights, ground interference line conditions, crop circle channels, communications, go through rotor interference, calculation modification code streams, high line centers into position locations, 444 sector communication line centers, quadrant line centers, 250 unit position locations, XT line center interference, program location to all planetary line in rotation, just calculation, space anomalies, high line center interference, galaxy lock line centers, channel position location, code signals, execute high center line rotation interference, flight navigation line centers, high levels of teleportation lights, telecommunication system, ground line channels, communication, water interference line conditions, open up air line interference line conditions, fire direction line system, ground line centers, track interference line conditions, all levels of computer adaptation system, to a high formation line center, to a new CPU line center, to computer adaptation interference location, to all levels of high position. Calculation modification line center, all level to the avatar stream. So it's all in sector communication system. Knowing what you're doing through projects and communication cycles, all levels of electrical light graph communication system. It opens up the psychological line channels position location to its calculations. All right. So that's how you set up a simulation graph to high line center, to a new CPU system and a new computer, of a new program center to a location of a unit. High position locations calculations. High streaming interference location is program. Going through this in a high line interference and going through all levels of its walkway position. Right. All right. So as you're going through that, we're going to quickly go through all levels. I really like to stay in the triangles, especially for the new ones. Let's go through yellow lines. Okay. So we're going through yellow line of a triangle. It's interesting too because you can understand the equal line centered anything position location. Equal can be here. It doesn't have to be here or here. It can be inner line in system. So it's all calculated and modified. And then you come back into high interference. Now, if you're going into red, that's all line center locations of security. Circle its rotation of its equal line center, right? In position location, take it out of its equation. All right, now it's out of its equation. Now, the single line interference location, you can't just go on a line center locations of right, but you have to understand the left. So you're not just getting information from the inline center. So if it's going in position, it's coming from sonar. It's going in, coming out, right? So one is in and one is out. There's always an input and an audio, okay? So there's an input and there's an audio input. So you have to understand how to use that through track system. This is how you come to the connections to all levels when you come into all that position, okay? The input valve and the audio, okay? So this is how you come in a track of voice, right? This is how you come in. You know how you started off with your VCRs? You snap the input and the output. You know, one goes in, one goes out. That's the same thing. So this is how you get audio, right? So, and then you change the channels. Just general here, right? Boom, you got it in signal. So automatically comes into all position locations to its antenna. Sonar line center interference position of program setting. So as it comes into graph line center, okay, you have to have signals in both line condition interference. You activate the stream interference and go through coloration patterns. Signal and position location line conditions, right? Travel to high center. Coming into a high line, I really want to get into stay in the graph system locations, how to travel through it. is all levels of its division of location of its travel. Okay, travel line conditions. See that? Praying mantis. See the praying mantis? All right. So as it's coming in position line conditions, everything through intelligence has a locked door. It's connected to the key masters and the gatekeepers. The key master is the lock division inference. They keep the code signals and identification line to its box system locations. This is what comes into the constant records. Now, the calculation line center is its activation stream when it comes into the gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is position locations to all levels. Okay, this is where you come into the stargates. Okay, we got stargates 1, stargates X line system. We get everything in position location, all calculation to grounds. Grounds and the powers and the high line channel communication of reception is its division location to its tactics system. It opens all track line centers to your transitions. Okay, so but you can see the praying mantis, right? Pretty cool, right? So you can go into the mystical line center. You can go into the graph interference. You can go into anything through AI position location. As long as you understand the awareness of what you're seeing through track, that's mostly understand. But knowing how to use the tracker system is the importance to its location. All right. All right. So as we stay in the triangle, we're going into the black interference of a triangle. Black interference of a triangle. That's cool. So the 3 line center is here. Okay. 6 is in the middle, and 9 is here in position. 3, 6, and 9. So as we go in position location, 3, 6, and 9 is up. 9, 6, and 3 is down. Same thing, right? See that? Do you see that? See that? See that? 3, 6, and 9. See that? Going up and going down. See? That's how this works. I'm the center line connections of 9 position locations, right? So if I'm the triangle in position location, one is going down and one is coming up. If you see my hand, you can see what I'm talking about. And if you move it, you can actually see it going up and going down in the same sequence. See? And you can see the electronic graph and its position location to its plasma line, which is like a square root. That's the square root right here. So that's a Trinity standing where the size of the graph interference in position location to each direction line conditions, right? So this is the graph of its light stream. Ooh-ah, of 3, 6, and 9. One going up and one going down, all through finger point. Ooh-ah. So there's a lot of things you have to understand through all line position. Time capacitor, high channels, line conditions. You got the sun graph interference, you got the moon in rotations, you got Jupiter on high interference, and you got Jupiter on line interference location. So Jupiter and Jupiter in 2 line positions in position locations, which means the Jupiter line center is no longer in a 3 line position locations. Now the sun comes in position location, the moon is high interference location, the low track interference, cross signals in position location line conditions. So it's all about understanding how the Jupiter rising high lines its position location of clocking, how it can go from one direction to the next direction, and everything through the sun line center can go from 3 position location to here, and a position location of the moon, a 3 of 6 can go up to here in position location of direction. All right. So it's interesting how we travel. Right? I'm just showing you on so many wave and cycles. Every planetary system line center is all movement of you through channel. Your motion sensor communication to heat signature patterns. You have to learn how to use your graph line center locations, the position location of line system. So once you come into your graph line centers, you come into your compilation line in rotation to a stairs. That stairs comes into its Fibonacci sequence. It highlights its position location's eye central interference. Now opens all program locations to its position. You travel through your 12 DNA track system, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12 line position locations, right? So you can change that and you can go into this position locations. You can illuminate the graph interference, but always has to have the ground shift. Ground shift to everything position locations always has to understand the center line conditions of what you're creating. All right. So as you're creating that, it always has to have a fluctuation stand. Now that fluctuation stand has its own antenna that comes up position locations. See the intelligence? As it's coming to position locations, you highline its position lines, electrical light condition, signal in position, right? Activates the signal line interference, comes back down in center position, opens all lines in position location atom. Atom comes in position location line direction. Okay, so as we come into that, we come into 3 channel line centers of ground interference. 3 position location line direction, right? That opens all line center location in sequence patterns. Now the sequence pattern comes into electrical graph. That electrical graph opens all position locations of high center line interference. changes the coloration line conditions, the levels of its galaxy unit, location of its planet system, coming into coloration. There's the planet coloration. Now it's coming into zip, zap, zoom, back in this center position, highlighting its position of laser direction, sets up sonar, 3-line position, location, direction. As it comes in high interference, it changes its position, location of its graph, comes in electrical fence and its position, location, protecting everything around its travel of its time as its 12th DNA. Hooah! See that? Coming to calculations. You see it? Do you see it? The bridge. Hooah! So now we understand why it's so important to travel. Traveling through security line defense, perimeters, parameters, or anything through compilation. Simultaneously all at once, the track system. It's extremely powerful when you do this through modification centers. Now you can go through circle line center. There's a circle line center rotation. Lock that in division location. All right. See how it's coming in equation? Lock that in division. Okay. So basically, once you set that in signal, it locks in. Okay. So it's interesting too because the illusion of the eye just opens all track interference. See, it's amazing how it comes in position. So as you understand the galaxy center, you understand planets surface and so many line tracks. So you get a planet line center locations here, position locations off track. So you get another one in position, you lock it in frame. So another one in line center location is its position. All right, so you lock that in frame. You come over here and you lock that in frame. See what I'm doing with all planet line interference? See the intelligent locations, right? If you look really, really close, you can see that's a frog. You see the frog? All right. So it comes into like connections. I'm making a joke here. Fragmentation. So it's fragmentation line centers. Default mechanism of time travel. Interference line conditions all position go. Calculations. Green line centers. Rotation line conditions all levels. So we come in position location of triangles, in position of squares, in the same coloration pattern. Circling interference location of the program setting. Resetting line channels of communication cycle. Resetting line in rotation to all levels of rectangular interference. In position, location, line direction. Opens all channel line conditions. We come into moonline center interference. There's the moonline center. Okay, and then we come into the sunline position, location, and direction. All right, all through shapes, all through planets. So this is how you set things up in signal. Electrical light connection interference. Now it's in separation until it gets in position locations. How you redirect all line center to planet interference locations to each direct line system to its telepathy wave. So once it comes into telepathy wave, you complicate the system. So complicate is override. Okay, you're overriding the system line interference. All right, you're setting electrical panels, communication, a shape, position, location of planet line centers. That's opening up position, location to its line connections. All right, here we go. All in signal, all in activation, all in program setting through telepathy from all shape line center to planet interference and teleportation line connections. So it's important you understand how to travel through this because it's all line position of you through telepathy. Right? How you use it through operation is totally up to you. So water's crucial. You need it because you have to keep refueling, especially when you're charging. The faster you go, the more you need to fluctuate and really understand. It's like your endorphins are kicking in or you're taking electrical lights. Basically, what it's doing is regenerating your light center line and rotation interference to your cells and modifying all line position of particle light interference location and calculation and resetting generation to its communication of its digital frame to its particle system. So in calculation, you come into these form line centers. Okay. All right. Just gonna see what everybody's doing here through high frequency line conditions. Come in hot, 25, need change, shots. Okay, good. Fragmentations, okay, great. Do you see the rings of these waves? Wow, okay. Whoosh, connects all portals to the sun, the moon, the high line to the pyramids, grading to defense. Way to go, Gypsy. Track line centers, guarding. You're coming into line centers, digital coding, digital framing. So you got 3 line positions, 4, you got 5 and 2. That's a 3 line center. 666, the position location that's all line centers at 3 position of program settings of 6, 6, and 6 line conditions. Now, you come into 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, repeating cycle, okay, to an 8-line channel interference. Program location is calculation, coming into new perimeter of a new coloration pattern, okay? That's the position direction line centers of 4, 5, 2, 6, 6, 6, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, all right? So it's all about understanding reading cycles of highline channel line rotation, calculation modification to all levels of digital framing. Now it's getting more complicated, right? Because you guys are reaching higher levels of the mind. So as you come into that position location, you're redirecting your high signals. Let's say you come into 414, okay, equals all line conditions, all right? You come into the equation line interference. Okay, so 414 equals equation. So what is the equation of what 414? Well, you got to look at what 4 is in 4 line conditions, all right? So 4 is representation locations of U through 9 line system, okay, because you're always starting off, so you're traveling first. 1 is the activation line stream, okay? 1 equals activation, and 4 is position location to what? Your location. Everything has to have a location, right? So you're asking me, how did 4 turn into 9? Well, it's your clocking system, okay? So if you go into 12 line center into 1, 2, 3, and 4, you understand what I'm talking about. So that 4 comes into 9, and when you come into 9, it comes in position locations. So you come into a higher level system, which puts everything to its equal of its equation, right? So that's in a 12 signal interference. Now it could be a 12, it could be a 24, okay? It can be a 48, it could be a 72, or it could be a 144, all right? Pretty wild, eh? So it's already understanding how to change position of mutation line connections. So as long as you understand you are the activation stream, okay? So 1 becomes U through 9. 1 equals 9, okay? Equals its equation, all right? So the equation is always line center locations into the vector core communication of location, all right? 9 is position of U. Now you can either stay in the center of operation, downshift position locations to its activation system, or you can change the 9 into 1. The 9 comes here and 1 goes here in position. You can switch it, right? But as long as you understand, it's kind of like monkey in the middle. So you can move the 9 over here, put the 9 even at the end. Doesn't matter, because everything that you're doing is already balance of equation. So you're doing everything that you want through its intent, because you're getting these things through your thoughts of manifestation. Right? So that's a very important understanding things, how it becomes 1 equals 9 equals equation. All right? So these are the things you have to look at. So this is a little bit more complicated, right? Because remember, we started off with the 12, we started off the 3, we started off the 6, and we start off with the 9, right? So 12 position location is a clocking system, right? 12 is this clocking system. So 3 position location is online center equals position location of the sun, right? 6 is position locations of the moon, and 9 is position locations of the 1%, which is you, the physical line. Okay, so that's how it operates. Now you get a 4 triangle interference in position location of diamond core, right? Now that sequences pattern. So you could change the 9 and put it in the center position location, right? Which is now the inner line conditions to its avatar. So it's the physical line connecting with the avatar, which is all line position location of the calculation. So this is where it comes into high line position, where you travel into your 12 DNA of its activation system. Hooah! Okay. So this is extremely high line. I'm just showing you how you can mutate numbers, letters, and shapes into higher program setting, how 1 becomes 9 and 9 becomes 1. That's because when you go to higher levels, you're going from inner and out, and outer and in. So this is the left and this is the right. So it gets confusing, right? So this is all about understanding, because you're learning that galaxy shifts this way and that way. Galaxy doesn't always go forward. It shifts back and forth, right? So if you get a piece of paper and it's a windy day and you put it on the ground and you just watch what it does, you'd be amazed, what it does. And it's all through clocking. Everything in life is clocking. Your whole life consumes the thoughts of clocking. So this is what you have to understand and how it calculates of U, how to modify the signal location of its 1%, which is all levels of U through 9. So as the clocking is going faster and faster, you come into the higher formations of digital framing. So you don't start off with the one line, you come into the two, then you come into the three, and then you come into the 4 digits, right? And it gets complicated when you get into the 0 line center rotation and interference location, line connections to disposition locations. It gets very, very complicated to higher levels. Okay. So in track line centers, you automatically start position locations. If you're mocking past 12, okay, this is interesting, airbender or anybody else position location. When you mock past 12, now you're going into the zeros. All right. So this is where you come into 0, 1, 0, 2. Okay. You come into 0, 3. All right. You come into 0, 4 and so all the way up to 12, right? Start out that position locations, right? So it's really fascinating too, because it's all about bringing all line of acceleration into one number. And after that one number disappears, you become mass of nothing of information location to all track locations, to all communication line interference, to all simulation to its graph system. All right. So lots to learn. All right. Getting pretty close. It's 11:45. Give you another 5 more minutes. I'll take you guys out. All right. So it's pretty incredible when you go to higher level system line conditions all through all levels of 0, 0, 0, 1s, right? And you come into position locations and high channel line centers. It's very fascinating because you see the intelligence. See the intelligence? There's the eyes, there's the nose. Everything is form of intelligence. So I'm just showing you how you do it through a clock, why it's so important, because it recognizes you through time frame, time clocking, time digitalizing, inline rotation, anything through CPU. You know what that is? Computer program position locating units. So it's all about understanding your PCs. That's a program communication system locations, or it's basically a program computer, or the CPU line center, or CPU activation stream system. So we work differently when we're in all line center locations of space. It's all computerized, right? So understanding your digital line interference or anything your program setting is all line conditions. Your job is to create the portal line interference and go through it through its manifestation to your thoughts of its signal, transmitting and receiving information to its location to its conditions. All right. So once you get into higher levels of 9, you get into higher digits, higher frame, higher planets, higher intelligence, higher formation, higher channels, higher colors, higher geometry line center operation of direction, all through your travels. So, all right. Great. So the ascension gods are coming out of the equation line centers. That's good. Take you guys out of code signal, code activation, streamline centers. Let's go into crew unit line 1 interference line position locations, all track system. Bring it back into simulation 2, back into the perception line condition. Squad unit 1 position of 2 line centers. Going into the GFL position of rebellion communication all lines. Ascending master communication all line center interference location to the ascension gods. Bring it back to the calculation. Done. Now you guys are back. All right. So I'm showing you how powerful it is once you understand what clocking does to all line conditions of its equation. 1 equals 9z equals equation. Or you could flip it around, right? So to understand why you're giving codes, codes is given to you through travel. You just have to learn how to use it through all line conditions. You got your alphabetical stream. You got your digital line interference. You got your program setting locations. Yeah, that scales its line conditions and measures, right? So it's like you have a measuring position locations, right? So it's again, it's like a teeter-totter. So you got one position here, but you got one position here, right? So it's all about understanding is that you have to come back down here to communicate with the one, right? Because if you're up here in separation, this one won't be able to communicate with you. It will scan you in position though. So, and then you can see the intelligence. See? So I'm just showing you basic understanding why it's so important, how to see yourself in other ways and forms. Try to use not just the imagination of everything to its core, try to use it through its relation to its avatar of understanding of what it is through its imagination. That's all line conditional levels of phenomenon. Okay? This is another way where you can use the mind, right? In sequence patterns, communication, block interference, block channel line centers. If you're blocking communication system, you got a line signal cross in position of box line center, trial position location of 3-line position location to do its calculation. So you got to open up one door. Okay, great. So you go through. This is you going through one door line center. This is all through memory. So yay, this is you. You got the information. This is one door, right? Now you go here. Okay. But the ID doesn't recognize you. So you back off because it's electrified. It's a communication system. So you have to identify yourself. What's going on? You touch the door, but you can't. So something comes up, position locations, redirects line center. Another intelligence standing there by line center interference. Hey, what's going on? Right? So I'm just showing you what it is, how you have to identify you. And these are all levels of the mind. And again, this comes into the acoustic records, why it's so important to identify your system every single time you come into your memories. Okay? So that's going to help you always inform too, right? To that provision. All right. So that was fun. I'll get you guys 10 minutes to prep. We're going Zoom, 12 p.m. my time. Check your time zones. All right. So, yes, it's party time. All right. So I'll see you guys on Zoom. Adios.